Hi, I'm Dr. Lindsey from a channel called Sexplanations on YouTube, and this is Peter Musser, who serves as the social marketing coordinator.
Social media coordinator, but potato.
The social media coordinator for Sex Geekdom. He's behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, talking to me, going to VidCon,
YouTube.
Being generally awesome with a wand. So I want to ask you some questions so that your audience, which is in part my audience, knows who you are and a little bit more about Sex Geekdom.
Okay.
So first of all, there's this video, which is my interview with Sex McCombs, who is the Sex McCombs.
Kate McCombs. She might as well be called Sex McCombs.
We are going to call her Sex McCombs from now on.
Yep.
My interview with Sex McCombs right here. She is the founder of Sex Geekdom, and the two of you recently met in Vegas with many others who are pillars of the organization to figure out how you're going to continue to improve it.
Yeah, we didn't do what people normally do in Vegas. What we did is we sat in a couple of hotel rooms and we cried and we talked and we formed up a board of directors for Sex Geekdom so that we actually have a path going forward. My position is, I come from a background of YouTube, as you probably know, because I interviewed you. Special link right here, since we're doing self-promotion. And I have a lot of experience doing Twitter and Tumblr and stuff because of my stuff that I do on YouTube. And so I figured, nobody's addressing this, I'll do it. And so we got started on that. The other people that were at the meetup in Las Vegas, emissaries is what we call them, Sex Geekdom emissaries for different locations. So we had a couple from the Melbourne down in Australia hub, and then we had like 3 from the Toronto hub, and those 2 are probably our biggest right now. And then we also have a couple who just moved to San Francisco from the Melbourne hub who are going to be starting a Sex Geekdom hub in San Francisco, which is very exciting.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
So what made you decide to connect to Sex Geekdom?
I met Kate through you, as you know. So
at Disneyland.
At Disneyland, at VidCon, which is what we're at this year, right now. But last year, we randomly were going through Disneyland, and Kate, I guess, texted Lindsey and was like, "Hey, Lindsey, I'm at Disneyland too. Let's get lunch." And so we met up in Tomorrowland. Kate and I started talking, and I was like, "Wow, this Sex Geekdom thing is really hip."
And so is Sex McCombs.
And so is Sex McCombs.
We'll just say she's so hip.
She's so hip. But I also come from a background, before YouTube and all that stuff, I was in the Navy, and I worked as a sexual assault victim advocate. I want people to have agency in their own lives, whether that's through education or through understanding their body, or being able to talk to people. And I think that Sex Geekdom is in a really good, unique position because its main primary goal is to create a safe space for people to talk about sex in a non-sex environment. Without having to worry about hookups or, whether or not you're going to get lucky. That's not the point of it. And I think that's very important, and I think that's something that we don't have as a very big thing outside of Sex Geekdom.
So VidCon now to VidCon a year from now, what are we hoping to see from you in your role with Sex Geekdom?
So as the social media wizard guru coordinator, I want to make sure that, on our Tumblr and our Twitter, we're putting out good, reliable, relevant information on a regular basis. Probably going to see a lot of her on our Tumblr because you put out a lot of really good content, and it's fairly well researched. And I'm not just saying that because I've helped research a couple of them, but also things like talking about, STIs, techniques is something I'd like to get started talking about. Things like polyamory and how that works. I'll talk about gender, things like that. Twitter, we're looking at reaching out to other sex educators and people who do sex geeky stuff, as well as condom providers, kind of reaching out to them. We're thinking about trying to get sponsorships because at some point we'd like this to be self-sustaining. And I think we all recognize that when you have money, you can do more good stuff. For YouTube, which I'm really excited about, we have things like this thing that you're watching right now, and we want more of these. So when we were in Vegas, I actually sat down with 5 of the emissaries that were there. And I sat down and I asked them, what does Sex Geekdom mean to you? And just real quick snapshots of everybody's perspective, because they're all slightly different, but they all have common themes. Everybody wants to have that safe space so that people can talk about something openly and comfortably. As far as things outside of the social media realm, we are working on getting a bunch of us together for Playground in Toronto in November. which is one of the big conferences. And then we're also thinking about doing, well, I would like to see some of us at CatalystCon when that rolls around next, because that's one of the big ones.
Video on CatalystCon.
Also, maybe get some merchandise and stuff like that set up, but definitely also getting some more hubs set up. So if you live somewhere and you think you want to talk about this stuff, let us know. We're always looking for more emissaries. Yeah.
Stay curious about it.
Yeah, we want you to feel safe and comfortable having the important talks that you should be having and having a good time doing it.
Bye.
Bye now.
She's really hip.
She's so hip. She could be used as a replacement for an old person who broke their hip.